What are some seemingly normal images with disturbing backstories? This photo before the Omagh bombing in Northern Ireland. Almost immediately after this photo was taken, a bomb was set off in the red car beside the boy on his dad's shoulders. The father and child survived miraculously, but the photographer and 28 others died, while around 220 were injured. My dad is from Northern Ireland and his brother still live there. It's really weird hearing them talk about the troubles. I actually lived there for a few years when I was young, but was sheltered from all of that stuff. We lived in a village and there was only one bombing, which I don't even remember. My dad worked in Belfast, though as an electrician, and there were parts of Belfast his employers wouldn't allow him to go to, as he was ex-British military. His employers considered it a genuine risk to his life if certain people had realized that such were tensions. It just sounds so surreal when they have talked about it. Stuff like this happening this recently in a developed country, especially when I have direct experience with, is just so weird. This picture taken of David A. Johnston 13 hours before the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980. His last words were over radio, "Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it," before going silent and his remains never found. I always thought his death had a certain poetry to it. He'd spent months convincing people that the mountains were dangerously close to erupting. He and his colleagues were taking turns camping out to observe it. And on his last night, he swept ships with someone who wanted to attend a party. He was right about the eruption being imminent. The man he swept with was Harry Glicken, who took the photo, and who was devastated when the volcano erupted and blamed himself for Johnston's death. He died in a different eruption in Japan, and he and Johnston are the only two American volcanologists to die in a volcanic eruption. The picture of Tyler Haley in his kitchen holding a solo cup during a party is chilling. He had just killed his parents and their dead bodies were in the house while he had this house party. I never met him, but Tyler is my second cousin. My parents went down to Florida a few months before this happened, and my mom couldn't stop talking about how weird Tyler acted. She said his dad asked him to go grab another folding chair from storage and he looked at him like he wanted to kill him. Obviously, those interactions meant a lot more after he killed my dad's cousin-in-law. This guy took a picture of a bear while in the woods. Shortly after he took the photo, he was killed by the same bear. A few students were hiking in New Jersey. They were being followed by this bear and it eventually started to chase them. They decided to split up, but it caught one of them. They all met up shortly after and realized one was missing. The pictures of the Dutch girls of Panama. Girls got lost in the jungle and were for days. A few months later, a backpack with a camera in these photos was found, and apparently a shoe with a foot in it and the pelvis of one of the girls. Sounds like they succumbed to the elements and were scavenged by animals. Truly horrible. It still doesn't entirely explain the sequence of events. Why did one of them call 911 within hours of one of the photos, only to call again 10 days later? And why was there a burst of photos taken in the middle of the night, also 10 days later, along with another 911 call? This picture from a hiking trip has an injured woman in the background. She and a friend had gone hiking and slipped off of a waterfall. Too injured to move, they were there for a day before being found. The woman in the photograph survived, but by the time they were rescued, her friend was already dead. Last image of Thai diver Saman Kunan. He was transferred oxygen tanks for 12 boys and their coach, who were trapped in a cave. He got into difficulties and did not have enough air himself. He died after losing consciousness in one of the passageways. Sadako Sasaki statue with paper cranes. Sadako was a Japanese girl who became a victim of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima when she was 2 years old. She was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 11 and given no more than a year to live. Sasaki's father, Shigo, told her the legend of the cranes, and she set herself a goal of folding 1,000 of them. which was believed to grant the folder a wish. Although she had plenty of free time during her days in the hospital, Sasaki lacked paper, so she used medicine weapons and whatever else she could borrow, including going to the other patients' rooms to ask for the paper from the get well presents. Her best friend Shizuko also brought paper from school for Sasaki to use. A popular version of the story is that Sasaki fell short of her goal of folding 1,000 cranes, having folded only 644 before her death, and that her friends completed the 1,000 and buried them all with her.